What up, everybody? Welcome to Premi Prego, and I am your host, Maestro, along with my sidekick, Primo. And I really wanted to make this video because, one, it was on my heart. And what do I mean by that? I mean, from a passionate standpoint, I I got tired of being silent. And so today I want to share with you all some of my story. As I mentioned before in my last video, I was going to share my story in the next video. Well, here we are, it's the next video. But I also want to share with you some tips on strategy. And with that being said, I want to, how do I say, put a disclaimer in here. I definitely know and understand and am aware of the consequences that some people are going to use some of the things that I teach on this channel. They're going to use them for bad. They're going to use them for evil. Some people might even try to use it against me, and that's okay. See, when you are a person who is a leader and you're a actionable person, you're an initiator, and you take initiation, and you don't want to walk through life weak, no matter how much you may be going through pain and suffering, whether it's rightfully so or unrightfully so. When those things are apparent and you know that you deserve to be a parent, um, yeah, you there's something in you that becomes a burning fire and desire that nobody is going to be able to put out. Nobody can put that out for you. That's if you're at the level that I'm speaking on right now. And so I'm 100% aware that, yeah, disclaimer, before you guys put in the comments, I know people are going to use this against me. I know my opposition and the other parties, even people that, heck, I try to or I strive to hire or gain support from. Those people will use your own education, your own story, your own teachings. They'll use that against you. So it's all a risk is what I'm trying to say. And the reason why I'm saying it this way is because, as I mentioned in my last video, I am a business owner. I am an entrepreneur, and understanding that risk is a part of the game is going to help you get through the game a little more. If you don't understand risk as a part of the game, you're going to lose. You're going to lose entrepreneurship the same way as a father that is fighting through corruption, through we'll say procedural violations, fighting through obstruction, injustice. There are going to be risks when you're fighting that fight. However, if you're in it for the long run, if you're in it for your child or your children, and you're willing to put in that time and effort, now there's a condition on that, but you're willing to put in some time and effort, then you are somebody who has to think above and beyond the average person, because most people ain't gonna understand this at all, and most people are going to ignore it, or they're going to try to swing you away from it. So that's why I wanted to just kind of preface that real quick, because I already know I'm already taking that risk. And the reason why I'm saying it this way is because, like some of your stories, my story is not done, and I could have wait to finalize my story. You know what I mean? I can wait till it's over and wait till like all the things, but that could be years on top of years on top of years. Because one thing I've learned is this battle. That's why they call it a custody battle, or child support battle, whatever the case is. They use that terminology on purpose, intentionally, because that's what it is. And they insinuate the battle. They want it to be a battle because, as I've learned through other educators and other influencers in the spaces and adjacent spaces, or even people that in general, I've learned that the meter is running. I've learned it through them and my own experience. It's all about money, and they try to keep the meter running so they can get paid. And I will say this, I will preface this, 90%, maybe if you want to say 80, that's fine. If you work in the system and this offends you, I really don't give a shit. 80 to 90% of the family court system is corrupt. And if this is new to you, well, Now you know. If this is not new to you and you're involved in it and you're a part of it, well, you know what you're doing. And I'm here to share and shed some light utilizing my story and tools and my skill set for those men out there who need this. Because there are a lot of people out there that are doing way better than I'm doing right now, and way better than I could be doing or that I will do. And I give them all props all day. But it comes a time where you, as a leader, as a man, as a leader, and you know you have something to say, and you know you have history, and you know you have a skill, like real skill, not just talking points, but skill. You got to ask yourself, is it important for me to protect all the things that people could say about me and all the negative that people can bring up on me and stuff like that? Is that more important, or is it more important for me to make a contribution to the human condition? Because that's what I'm going to do on this channel, and that's what I'm doing with my message and with this story. So for the most part, and I might have to get some water. I do got some tea left. Yeah, I might have to drink some of my tea. Tea is real good. But for the most part, y'all, my journey on this particular topic as a father or dealing with the family court system started obviously when my daughter was born in 2022. And I've been fighting uphill ever since then. And I don't like to fight just to fight. That to me is a waste of time. I have way more things I could be doing with my time. I am doing positive things with my time. And that's the reason why I'm able to be here with you all right now, because I use those positive things in my business and to level myself up and to be able to create a opportunity where I can share with you all in this kind of a light. And since this has happened, I've learned so much. I want to share with you all a timeline. And this is where, they say receipts and things like that are important. And that's what I'm going to share with you all without showing too much just yet. But I'm going to show you what I can show you and give you guys some insight on why I'm adamant about, one, staying organized and critically thinking. And all that goes in with the keyword that you're going to hear over and over again. If you haven't already gone through your trial, literally and figuratively, you're going to hear the word records, right? Records and findings. And everything's about keeping a record. If I've learned anything, it's about, one, you have to keep record. It's about pushing paperwork, which is record. Is it on the record? And then even vocally, like testifying, verbally, record. Everything is about record, on the record, off the record. I'm sure you've heard this in journalism. You know what I mean? When people are interviewing somebody and they'll say the term, oh, this is off the record. It's the same thing in the family court system. It's records. So you have to be really, really good at record keeping. Record keeping. So I've been keeping records since before my daughter was born. And I've been intentionally keeping records since before she was born, because I knew the other side was also keeping their records as well too. And not just keeping records, but creating records, creating narratives. It's one thing when you're keeping a record. It's another thing when you're keeping a record of a narrative you're creating, so that way you can then go back to that record when you want to go back to that record. And it's very important for you to keep records. Gentlemen, it's very important for you to keep records. Record everything, record everything. When I say record everything, document it. Document and record. They're going to be doing the same thing if they've been learning from their support system, right? They're going to be doing the same thing. So this is nothing new. Keep a record. But how you keep records matter. Now, why would I say how you keep records matter? How you keep records matter because, and I'm gonna have to jump in some of my my sound, my soundboard in a minute. But how you keep records matter because you're able to access these records through technology right? If you do it digitally, if you do it right. And it makes the critical thinking part, after you've assessed, it makes the assessment part a lot easier for you to digest this information and documentation, especially when you're learning the law and you're learning these rules. And every state has different laws and different rules and different ordinances, and the list goes on, right? And we're gonna get into all that. I promise you, we're gonna get into all that in future videos. Again, I can't throw everything in one video, but I'm about to give y'all some gems in this one. And so when it comes to understanding the aspect of record keeping, right? Staying organized, but also assessing through the record keeping process, you're gonna have a better outcome. Not necessarily, and I have to pre-frame this, because here's the thing, gentlemen, here's the thing, guys, here's the thing. Men, I'm serious, I'm looking at you, here's the thing. You're not going to win every battle. You're not. And here's the reason why you're not. And I'm talking to the men and the gentlemen. I'm not talking to the F-boys out there. I'm not talking to men who don't really care about wanting to either fight or, and when I say fight, I'm not talking about, as I said before, an endless, unconditional fight. No, there's conditions and there is an end. Because they will kill you. They don't care. They're parasitic. As long as you're alive, they want you drained. If you're gone, they don't have nothing else to take from. But as long as you're alive, in their mind, they want you drained. Their hand is out, right? The hand is out. So the reason why I'm saying this is because the whole aspect of you, how do I say it? The whole aspect of you remaining organized, you record keeping, you initiating, that's a key thing, you initiating and you fighting. A lot of it, when it comes to, like I said, some of the battles you're not gonna win, is because if you are a real man and you are a man of truth, right? I'm not saying you've never lied in your life. That would be, hey, y'all, you know that would be retarded. Like, listen, hold up.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Anybody got time for that? You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, hold on, let me get my other one.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
But we all lied, right? You ain't got to lie. And anybody got time for those lies? But I realized that 90% of the family court cases, if they were about the truth, maybe it's 80%, I don't know, maybe it's 75. Y'all get the picture, right? If they were about the truth, most men would win. Again, men who live integral lives, men who take care of their business, men who, it doesn't matter whether you were married or whether you were unmarried. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. If you didn't do anything wrong to your children, there's no reason why they should be taken away from you at all. No reason. There's no reason at all. Especially when the statistics say, and they've been said, and I'll share that with you too in later videos, that outcomes typically favor when the children are reared by the men. They favor that position. A child is both a mother and a father. However, the data has notated that outcomes of the kids, favorable outcomes, generally happen more when they have involved fathers. Yet we keep taking the children away from the fathers and then making up these lies in society and social media. It's crazy. And conversations in passing that deadbeat dad's this and deadbeat dad's that and deadbeat. It's so funny to hear people talking and speaking, and when you know you're above the fold, I'll say it like that, you hear them just regurgitating trending topics. Like, I literally hear people regurgitating trending topics all the time, and they have no clue of the actual information behind the thing they're talking about. They're just saying what everybody else is saying or what sounds good. So yes, I 100% believe in my being, in my bone, if family court trials were based on the truth, most women would lose. They would lose. Absolutely lose. This is why I'm big on the hashtag that I'm coming up with, I came up with. If somebody else said it before me, damn that. It's here, primi pego. But all they have to do is lie. Hashtag all they have to do is lie. The moment that they lie, that's when the courts are able to use that, capitalize on that for the what? For the love of money. Gotta make that money, man. For the capital. So that's why I'm saying stay organized, keep records. Because this is where men go wrong. I think this is where men go wrong. This is just my opinion. It's my show. I'm gonna give it like that. But I think where men really go wrong, I'm talking about men. Again, I'm gonna keep reframing this. Men. I ain't talking about F-boys. I ain't talking about males with penises. I'm not talking about guys that just give in and do whatever you want them to do. Nah, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about men. You don't even have to be an alpha male. It's not about being alpha. If you're a man, you are a leader. By definition. If you're a man, man is leader. You don't have to lead the world. It's not about leading the world. First of all, you got to lead yourself. You got to lead yourself. If you can't lead yourself, you are lost. There's nothing wrong with being lost. But after you get 30, 35, you can't, that lost, ain't no excuses for that. Not for men. Being lost. Now, you can be confused for a little bit. You can want to chill, have some R&R, but you can't be lost after 30, 35. But when it comes to understanding that as a man, if you understand how this game is, because it's a game. They're all playing a game. It's a game. All of them are playing a game. Everybody involved is a game. It's a game to them. It's a game. If you understand the game, the real win is not going to necessarily always be in the courtroom. You will get wins, and those are wins. Don't discount the wins that you get in that area, in that space. But that's their space and their game. So even when you win, you don't win. Guess why? Because you still have to pay them. You have to pay to be in your child's life. A child that it came from you. It wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. And you got to pay for access. And you have to pay to fight them for gaining access or unfair access. Most men just want access to their children. Most women want access to men's pockets, financial stability, their ability. They want access. Isn't that crazy? Most men just want access. Most men don't want money from the mother. They don't want money. They don't want finances. They don't want none of that. They just want their kid. They just want their kids. That's it. Most women want the kid so they can get what? I just said it in the last video. Access, control. For real, man. So when it came to my story, let me show y'all real quick a little bit of how much work I put in. I believe I had to start off with that, but I believe if y'all see the way I kind of operate and how I move, all I want to do is help one person. That's it. And the thing I had to realize is I don't want to just help somebody because, oh, well, I made it through this or I've done this or I won so you can win too. That's not what this channel is for. There's other channels for that, for men who have Like there is behind them. You know what I'm saying? Their situation is behind them and they're giving you the aftermath. No, I'm going to give you the journey while we're going through it. That is the different perspective. And then once I'm over, we're going to look back at the journey and then we're going to talk about the aftermath. But I believe it's time to speak up. And I want you to see. I want you to see. Let me show you. Hold on. Make sure. All right. So let me show y'all. You see these dates? Now, here's the thing. I haven't added to this in a little while. But I want y'all to see this. This is how I stay organized. But let me make it a little bigger for y'all. Boom. All right. So, paternity establishment. I had to establish paternity. That's a fact. So some of these things I'm sharing with y'all, I'm okay with being transparent about this because it's already happened. It's fact. This is a fact. You can't dispute this. This can't be used against me. There's no, he's showing the public, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. It's a fact. It's already happened. You can't dispute this. This is not private information. So yes, I had to establish paternity for my daughter, who I was at her birth. Why was I at my daughter's birth? Because the mother told me this was my child. And I believed her. So although we weren't together, we were not together during the pregnancy, we weren't together at the birth, I still showed up to the birth. I even showed up to other proceedings, doctor's appointments, daddy boot camp. I did other things even before the birth happened because I wanted to be a part of my child's life before she was born. It didn't matter to me what the situation was. What mattered to me was I knew I was there I was going to be there during and there post. So that's why you see here, paternity establishment, I had to file that because I didn't sign the birth certificate at the birth. Now, some people are saying, well, why didn't you sign a birth certificate at the birth? You should have signed a birth certificate at the birth. Listen. If you are one of those men, this channel is probably not for you. If you're one of those women, this channel is probably not for you. I think you know why men just don't sign birth certificates at the birth. Why they don't just sign their name without testing, okay? So that's something that I want you to get clear of and I want you to understand. It does not mean you don't think or you don't believe or that's not possible. It means that you want to have the ability to know for sure. The woman knows for sure it's hers because it comes out of the what? So why can't men get the same respect? They don't want us having that respect. Why? Going back to everything that this channel is about, so that they can do reproductive coercion. So they can do nefarious acts and they can run up the meter and they can maximize child support. At the end of the day, it all comes to Title 4D. If you don't know what Title 4D is, please look it up. It's all about Title 4D. It's very simple. So, with that being said, paternity establishment, I did this in February of 23. Now, here's the reason why I can say that I did it at this time. For those of y'all who don't know, I want to show you. Well, no, I don't want to. For those of y'all who don't know, let me share with you this. I legally changed my first name, and it is not a secret. It's not a secret. And I did this because well, first of all, I was already going by Maestro for a very, very, very long time. So I waited like almost a decade before I made it, we'll say, legally binding, right? And the reason why I'm tying this back to, if my daughter was born in 22, well, if somebody wants to say, well, what took you so long to file for paternity? That is the main reason. I was going through that legal process, and it was for me, my goal to have Maestro be on my daughter's birth certificate. That was a big thing for me internally, as not only a milestone, but a christening, and just to show how far I've come and what I've done and who I am. Like, that was for that purpose. So that's why I'm giving you guys this kind of context so you understand it wasn't me being lazy or whatever. On top of the fact that a lot of this stuff is very intimidating for a lot of men who don't understand or know the family court system or the family court business. That's what we're going to call it around here. That's what I'm going to keep referring it to. They don't know the family court business, and it's very intimidating. So when you're learning, and during this time, I was learning. I was soaking up information. And so that's why I established this, because this was the time where I finally got the paperwork in the mail. Everything was official. And that's why I said, okay, now I'm going to go for paternity. So now you know. Then we have application for shared parenting. In Ohio, I can't speak for every state. I can't speak for every state, but it's very similar in most states. In other states, there's even, there's a two-step process, right? It's really a lot more, but let's just simplify things. In Ohio, this situation, the process, the procedure, I'm calling it a situation because that's what it really is. But the process and procedure is you have to establish paternity before you can apply for parenting, before you can apply for custody. Different states call it different things. But before you can apply for any type of having access to your child on some type of court order, right? Where you can legally say, yes, this is supposed to be my time. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of the mother. And we all know where that leads us for the most part, not every mother, but for most mothers. When you are going through this process, you have to first establish paternity, then you have to apply for some type of parenting. You have to file a form. Look for that form, wherever that is, you got to file that form. And they have the forms on the websites. Look for your county, look for your local county, whatever juvenile court system your children are in or going through, that's where you want to file, okay? And I did this. Listen, I did all this on my own. It's called pro se. That's what they call it when you represent yourself. I represented myself pro se. Okay, so that's what this is all about. I applied for shared parenting in April of 2024. So almost a year later. And this is what, if I can teach y'all anything, if I can share with you anything, this is my summary of how I view things, how I can summarize things, how I view things, the way I perceive them. A lot of this BS, it's about time and distance. And it's not something that I'm making up off the top of my head. It's not something that, I'm just coming off the cuff. No, I was taught this by other people who came before me. I watch a lot of, court cases. I've watched hundreds of court cases online because they're online. And I watch a lot of content creators that like to educate on the system. I do because that's how I soak stuff up. And then I go verify to see if this is true. Heck, I even lived some of this stuff to see if this is true. This is why this channel is birthed right now, because your boy lived it. But for the most part, you have to think of, how could I say, the time and distance aspect of things. It's time and distance. They create, and the reason, and when I say distance, some of y'all are thinking I mean location. That's not what I mean by distance. I'm talking about the time it takes for you to have to go through all of this stuff. The 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, the 5 month, the 9th month, the year, the 2 years. They intentionally create court dates. They create them, all these court dates and these proceedings. They create it in a long time. How do I say timeline? Intentionally, because they can then use that distance between the time frame, the amount of time you have not spent with the child. They can use that against you, and they do use that against you, even though they've created this time frame that your child hasn't seen you, because they know, well, if you're going through a custody battle or a court battle, for whatever reason, they know that you're probably not on the same page with the other person, with the mother, most likely. And so you're probably not seeing your child how you want, when you want. They know this, yet they will utilize, we're going to have these court dates in 6 months from now, and 5 months. And we're going to do this continuance, and it's going to take another 6 months. Meanwhile, your child is getting older the entire time. And then when you finally are in court, and they'll say, your child hasn't been with you and they have to maintain their stability. There's terms for it that they have. We'll go over those terms, the best interest factors, all that stuff. They're not really, it's all fake stuff. But I'm going to give it to you what it really is and then tell you why it's fake, okay? I'm not saying that what I'm telling you is fake. I'm saying they use this stuff and it's fake. But time and distance, time and keep time and distance. They take their time to create distance. That's what I've learned. Hey, in the comments, let me know if I'm lying. But time and distance. So let's get back to it. That's why I record everything. So here we have the paternity establishment. Then we have the application for shared parenting. I was taught this by a lawyer to file all this at one time. So I've talked to many lawyers. I've retained many lawyers. We're going to get into that too. And because I wasn't just learning from influencers and doing research on my own and stuff like that. I was actually talking with lawyers. So that's why I'm telling you, my story is so unique, y'all. It's so unique. It's so unique, but it's not unique where it doesn't happen to men all the time. I mean, it's unique on the term of most men aren't gonna do what I've done. Not most. That's a fact. And I understand why most men won't do that. Most men aren't gonna represent themselves pro se and file all this stuff and then also hire lawyers. Most men will do one or the other, if that, because it's a lot. And you shouldn't have to do all of this stuff to have your child. So that's why I'm saying my story is very unique, because most men won't do what I've done. And they're not gonna do that. But I'm hoping if you're watching this, you're not most men. You're not the average man. And you're gonna do what you need to do. And that's why we're going through this. And that's why I'm sharing with you, because most men aren't gonna share this either. There are a few men out there that are showing, sharing, teaching, educating with the data, with their own experience and their own receipts, and they're not just using people's stories, other people's third party stuff they heard. And they're not just only talking about their story. They're sharing the correlation between other people's stories. But a lawyer told me to do this all at one time, so I never even thought about that. I know you could file multiple things at one time, so that's one hint for you. She said file all this at the same time, right here. So I filed all 4 of these forms at the same time. Well, not the paternity, sorry. These forms right here, all 3 of these forms at the same time. This one is the only one I got granted. And you're gonna see a pattern of how much I got denied. The other party barely had to do anything, and the things that they did do, they conveniently got the stuff granted. My stuff conveniently got denied. Even though I'm telling you, when you see, and I'm gonna share with you all my filings in future videos. See, I can show you my filings. I can't show you the actual guardian ad litem report, but we still gonna go over that anyway, right? We gonna go over that anyway, but legally, I can't show it to you word for word because on there, it has the verbiage. You can't show the. However, they can't stop me from sharing what it has and what it said. They can't stop me from doing that. And you're gonna see how I broke that shit down. I cerebrally broke down this. And if you don't know what a guardian ad litem report is, or what a guardian ad litem is, basically they're like a hired attorney for your child, for the kid. They call them different things in different states. In Ohio, they call them a guardian ad litem, even though all they do is guard you from getting your kid. Sometimes they're attorneys, sometimes they're social worker. Most likely they're gonna be women. Most likely they're gonna be women. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is that I filed all 3 of these at the same time. As you can see here, I wrote a pretrial statement. So I was taught about writing a pretrial statement before the trial. After I filed custody, I wrote a statement. This is something that you write, and you give this to the magistrate, the judge, the referee, whatever they're called in your place. That's what you do. Then motion for hearing, I got that denied because I filed the wrong form. It was a motion for emergency hearing. Then I did a motion for transcripts. I did a motion for transcripts so I can have transcripts of the trial that came before, so that way I could use on the record stuff that came from the record. We're gonna get into how they kept me from admitting that into evidence as well. Even though I followed the rules of evidence, they kept me from putting that on the record. This is why I say if most courts fought with the truth, if you fought with the truth, most women would lose, but they won't let you, or they try not to let you, bring in the truth as much as possible. They do. They really do. It's an evil world we live in, huh? So we have the motion for transcripts. Then what they try to do, because I did a motion for emergency hearing, they did a retaliatory, how do you say that word? Retaliatory? I'm probably butchering it too. They retaliated. We're gonna put it like that. They retaliated. Immediately, they retaliated by filing, you can even see the dates, by filing a toxicology. So I had to file a motion to deny a toxicology. So meaning, and this is where I'm gonna share with y'all. I'm being very transparent with y'all for good reason. I have no reason to lie to you. All it's gonna do is come back and bite me in the ass anyway, like it does a lot of content creators when they be lying or living on lies. Listen, it comes back at some point in time. So I have no reason to lie to you. So going back to the story, the narrative. Remember I told y'all about the whole story that became before this, keeping records, and then the other people create narratives because this is what they do. Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of a term called the silver bullet. I was taught this too. I didn't know anything about it. I thought silver bullets kill werewolves. Who knew that it was also used in court? So what women typically do, very little men do this, but some men do it. Either way, most women will try to use a tactic called the silver bullet. They're either taught this or told this, or they just learned this from whatever, where they'll try to make false accusations. It'll be false accusations through DV. It'll be false accusations through some type of use, or false accusations of hurting. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to, the channel, we just starting off. So I'm trying to figure out how do I say certain words so that way YouTube don't do the boohoo stuff. But you know what I'm saying? That's called the silver bullet tactic. Meaning they'll create false accusations, and once accusations are made in courts, then the courts will use, and there's terminologies for this in the law. Well, now we have now we can intervene. They're saying that now you have to prove you didn't do the thing, even though they could be lying, and a lot of them are lying. Not saying everyone is lying, but a lot of them are. I will even say most of them. Yes, I will say most of them. Why would I say most of them? Why would I say most accusations in family court are lies? Why would I say that, especially coming from women? Well, because there's not typically consequences that follow. So if you can get away with something, which most humans, most of you do, if you can get away with it and it's wrong, are you going to try it anyway? Probably. So in this situation, that was used, a narrative was created way before all the custody battle happened. It was created after my child was born about drinking. And the goalposts kept moving. What do I mean by drinking? At first it was usage of alcohol during having the baby. That's how it started. Then it turned into alcohol abuse. Then it turned into substance abuse. The goalposts kept moving throughout the trial. It just kept moving. And they're so sneaky. Sometimes they won't even say it themselves. The other person, the party, the mother, they'll use the guardian ad litem or the social worker. They'll use other people to say it for them. Then they'll bring it up underneath that. So that's why I had to write a motion to deny a toxicology request. Because they were trying to use this notion right here. And not only that, a toxicology request is very invasive and it proves nothing. It doesn't prove harm to the child. So anytime that they're trying to do that, they're doing this on purpose intentionally, because if the issue is you can't have alcohol while with the child, well, then there's other tests that would be more appropriate for that matter, right? They have breathalyzers. They literally have breathalyzers. I've seen them. I've watched so many cases because, I'm studying, okay, this is what they're going to try. Why don't they do this? That makes no logical, rational sense. But nope, a toxicology request. Why? Because it goes back 3 months. It doesn't prove what happened 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Nope. A toxicology goes back 3 months to show whether you use alcohol or any other type of drug or substance. And if they can prove, well, you use something, they can try to use that to create evidence. Even though the real evidence is supposed to be, well, what happened to the child based on the claims, the accusations that you've made, saying that this person does this or this, well, then what happened to if they can't come up with what happened to the child, you know they don't got shit. And they're creating evidence. Somebody probably think I'm making this up. That's all right. That's okay. So then we have a proposed shared parenting plan. So this got denied. My motion to deny, and the crazy part about this is they filed a motion that wasn't even on the record. The guardian ad litem filed a motion in support. That's how the judge knew about the motion. She filed a motion in support. In support of what? It's not on the record. And then the magistrate still says, go forth with it. It's called like subpoena ponte. I don't care about the Latin term right now. What I'm letting you know is they'll use the magistrate, the judge, they'll basically supersede. They'll push it through anyway. Like overturned. So that's why I got denied. Then we have a proposed shared parenting plan. Again, I'm going for, I didn't say exactly what I was going for before, but I'm going for shared parenting. So that means 50-50 custody. Some people go by 50-50 custody. I'm going for 50-50. She's half my daughter. She's half mine. Why can't I have 50-50? But see, this is where the BS begins. This is where the BS begins. Ohio has one of the worst shared parenting time for fathers. It is on the bottom of the list. That's a fact. Ohio has one of the worst shared parenting time for fathers. Out of all 50 states, Ohio is in the bottom 13. Crazy. Here's the mother's parenting plan. Basically, she sent a full custody parenting plan and proposed parenting plan. Full custody. Wanted me to have nothing. Not custody, not custody or even legal custody. So you have physical custody, you have legal custody. She proposed I have nothing. There's no reason why. No harm has been to my daughter. It's not because I can't take care of myself. I don't have nope. Her position is just, I want full custody. Now, why do y'all think she wants full custody and me to have no say so? I'm sure some of y'all have guessed it by now. I've already said it before. What it's all about. Then we have a fact sheet. So I turned in a fact sheet because I thought I had to turn in a fact sheet. What's crazy is all this stuff that I did, at the end of the day, it was more for record keeping and somewhat more for y'all than it actually was for the system. Because I did a motion for contempt of visitation. I got, to understand how this works, I learned more and more about, okay, well, if the person is not allowing you your parenting time, and they did, the guardian ad litem and the mother worked together to obstruct my parenting time. And I have facts and evidence of that. I will show y'all later. But I had to file a motion for contempt of visitation. That got denied ultimately. I filed an objection. Now, this is something that I didn't know in my particular jurisdiction, and this is something that y'all got to learn too. I thought, because I was taught and told you're supposed to file an objection to the guardian ad litem report, and you're supposed to file it, meaning you send it in. You file it with the county. You file it with the clerk. I thought you were supposed to do that in my jurisdiction. I come to find out, no, you're not. You don't have to do that. So I had to learn the hard way. And that's why I'm saying, I'm hoping you guys don't have to learn the hard way. Find out, because this is a critical piece right here that could give away your strategy. All this is about strategy. And what I'm giving you guys right now is some game and strategy. For those of y'all who are still here, it's game and strategy I'm giving you. Probably too much game, too much strategy. I know somebody's getting mad at me right now. Why am I giving away so much of the game? Somebody's charging $10.99 for this right now, and some lawyer is losing out on a new client. But either way, they filed a continuance. So they filed a continuance. Now, why would they file a continuance? If things are going in their favor, why? Because they wanted to buy more time. They wanted to buy more time. And the messed up part about this continuance that I had to file an objection to, that they filed the continuance, the final date of when they're supposed to be giving me their exhibits. So in every jurisdiction, you have a timeline and a time frame and a deadline of when you have to turn in the exhibits to the courts and the other party. Guess what they did? Instead of giving me the exhibits like I gave them my exhibits. Guess what they did? They filed the continuance. They didn't give me their exhibits. So that was already a violation in procedure. They violated procedure. So then I had to file an affidavit for indigency. What does that mean? At that time, I didn't really have any money. So hopefully this makes sense in terms of why I'm going this route, because I don't have money for a lawyer at this time. So I'm going pro se. And some would say, even if you do have money for a lawyer, that's not the best route to go. I will say, based on my experience, gentlemen, listen very carefully, because there's people out there, people that I paid money for, I listened to, I paid money for consultations, and I respect their position and what they've gotten and what they've achieved. But just because one man won and says that, well, if you listen to me, you can win too, it does not make it true. I'll repeat this. And this is no shade on nobody's channel or giving you game. Just because one man won pro se does not mean you're going to win pro se because he tells you what to say. He does not represent you. And even if you are intelligent, I'm sure by now y'all can tell I'm not a dummy. You know what I'm saying? I got C's in school. I got some B's. Every now and then an A. But I ain't no dummy. And yet I still got the corrupt end of the stick. You're going to face corruption, most likely. You're going to face corruption. So in this situation, I had no money. And here's the thing. In order for you to be in this battle, guess what you have to do? You got to pay. It doesn't matter if you have a lawyer or not. All these filings cost money. They're not free. The meter's running. I'm telling y'all. So in this situation, I had to file an affidavit for indigency because that was the only way if I'm going to be able to stay in the fight. If I don't have any money to pay for filings, well, then I have to give up. You have to give up because they won't take your filings without payment. And this is what makes my case so crazy. This is why this situation is so crazy. The reason why the toxicology, the motion that the other party filed did not actually get filed is because they didn't pay for it. And it only cost $20 and they didn't pay for it. The lawyer sent me an email, not thinking that I was going to read it in detail and use my help, my assistance to help me pick it apart. My assistants noticed, and I'm going to tell y'all this, it's like, I noticed you sent me an email saying but you didn't pay for it. So if you didn't pay for it, it ain't on the record. So she bluffed. And then the guardian ad litem filed on top of the bluff. How interesting. I'm filing for indigency because I know if I don't pay for it, it don't go through. However, they don't pay for it and yet it still goes through. They used a way around it. Then there's a motion for extension. So basically, I filed a motion for extension because, and this is the BS, this is the trick. They create barriers and boundaries. This is the trickery, gentlemen. Somebody's learning from this because I'm telling you, they're going to try this in their own way with you. I'm not new in the sense of my story hasn't happened to somebody else. I'm just new in the sense of I don't think many men approach their situation the way I approach my situation. I know most men haven't. I know it. That's a fact. You take that to the bank, cash that. But no cash app. But we don't do no begging around here. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We don't do no begging around here. But here's the situation. I had to file a motion for an extension because the magistrate ordered me to take a hair toxicology test. And since I didn't take it on time, she then ordered me to take, and then the guardian ad litem added more lies, and now I have to take not only a hair toxicology test, now they want me to take a fucking piss test. Excuse my French, but no. That right there really was the straw that broke the camel's hump for me. And then on top of that, when I go to take the test, when I finally go to take these nefarious, these invasive, these illegal tests so I can be in my daughter's life, I can only take the piss test. Why? Because my hair is too short. The facility can't do short people, and they knew. So I'm thinking in my head, wait, hold on. This makes no sense. Because either I'm the first person that they have taking a toxicology test with short hair when I was in court. My hair's been short the whole time. They knew my hair was short. So either I'm the first person that they're experimenting on with this situation, or I'm not the first person and they know what they're doing. They're creating a boundary or a barrier. So that way they can put on the record, oh, well, you didn't take the test, sir. You didn't take the test. You didn't do the thing, even though I couldn't take it. Well, why? Well, it doesn't matter. You couldn't. It's the fact that you didn't do it. I'm telling y'all, this is what they did. This is what they did. Did I see that coming? Absolutely not. I did not see that coming, where I could not take the hair follicle test because my hair is too short. So that's where the motion for extension came in. I filed because they had me take this test. The magistrate kept dating the test 1 day later, 2 days later. From the time that she made her ruling, I've taken it 2 days, knowing I don't live in the same city, so it takes time for the mail to get to me. And so I'm getting the mail the day I'm supposed to be taking this test. And not only that, she made it over the weekend. When in the law, you can't have somebody you have to give them a couple of days. If it's a Friday, a Saturday, Sunday, that don't count. It's the weekend. But hey, they thought they were gonna just pull all these moves on me and I wasn't gonna see none of it. If y'all are watching this, y'all thought I wasn't gonna see none of it? You thought I was just gonna fold and fall? Then I motioned to object the guardian ad litem fees. Now, why would I do that? Well, if the guardian ad litem was not being objective and she was being biased the whole time, which most of them are, because it's an alley-oop. What I learned is it's a basketball game and they're alley-ooping each other. The guardian ad litem is alley-ooping the magistrate. The magistrate is an alley-oop for the child support. The custody is an alley-oop for the child support. If they can keep you away from the child, they can maximize child support. It's an alley-oop. You're being passed through these phases. And they're having conversations behind closed doors about this, and y'all aren't understanding this. Some of y'all think, no, they're not. They're not meeting up. And I'm not saying they're exactly meeting up and saying, hey, let's go have a picnic and a barbecue. I'm saying they're having that's where most of the corruption is happening, behind closed doors. That's where most of the conversations that move the needle are happening, behind closed doors. Not on the record, off the record. So I filed a motion to object to guardian ad litem fees. That's also denied. Denied. Because her fees were unjustified. She's creating problems and issues. It's so crazy that she had the nerve to use the word exacerbate in one of her reports. I'm exacerbating the issue because I won't take these invasive tests. And then she lies and says, I said I wouldn't do this or do that. I'm like, and I can prove she's lying. Listen, that's why I'm record. We're gonna go back to this. I'm showing you this for a reason. If you stay long enough, y'all are getting so much game right now. So much game. So much game. But I motioned to deny the fees. I got that denied. I motioned to object the magistrate decision to because I'm like, why are you? I got that denied. I added a supplemental memorandum of support, basically to add more information of my objection. Got that denied. This right here, I got ignored. As of the making of this video, I have to go back and I have to address that. And guess what that's going to do? It's going to cost me money to address the thing that should have never been ignored in the first place. It's so interesting. Their motion for a toxicology that was never ever filed, that gets approved. My motion for a psychological evaluation of the mother, it gets ignored, tossed under the radar, ghosted. Then we have a motion then I filed a motion for emergency hearing. This time, y'all think I filed wrong? No, I did not. I learned my lesson. I filed the wrong one this time. I ain't filed the wrong one this time. That got denied again. And then motion for relief from judgment, denied. Now, like I said, I have to add to this list, but it gets to the point where you get overwhelmed with all of the things, everything you have to do, and all you want to do is be in your child's life with the same autonomy, the same respect, the same accountability, the same responsibility. Everything is the same. Everything is the same. The same if I'm a first-time parent. The other parent is a first-time parent. They don't have no skill set in parenting before they became a parent. They didn't know more than me before they became a parent. We both became a parent at the same time in the world. Yet they get the opportunity to parent as if they've been parented all their lives. And they're a perfect parent. And they're a parent that went to parenting school and they know how to parent. They didn't learn things along the way. Men, on the other hand, we have to go through all of this stuff. And most men won't do this. And most lawyers won't do this. That's the crazy part. The lawyers don't even take real account. A lot of the lawyers don't know what they're doing. That's the truth. I'm keeping it all the way real today. They don't. They don't. They're running up the meter too. They're a part of it too. The lawyer that you hire is not trying to get to a resolution quickly. None of them. The girl that lied them, she wasn't trying to get to a resolution quickly. So yeah, I wanted to share this with you all because this was very, very important. This was very important. My motions and filings. Now, I'm not going to show my witness and evidence list right now because it has names on it that I don't want to give away. But I just wanted to share this with you all because this is very important. You need to document, record. Now, here's a way, if I were you, I would do it. You can do whatever you want to do. Do it how you want to do it. Do you. But if I were you and you don't have no information, no guidance, no direction, if I were you, because I'm not old, like I'm old school with an old soul in some ways, but I'm very technology proficient. Like I'm about using modern, listen, if we're going to be talking about modern day issues and modern day women and modern day court system and modern day laws, well, then let's talk about modern day technology. And let's use it to our advantage because they're using every other thing modern to their advantage. Modern talking points, modern culture, modern technology. So if I were you, this is what I've done. I've created basically a space, a digital space. I'm trying to break it down, but basically it's a cloud. I use Google Drive. I've created a digital space, a digital way I can keep my records. So that way the forms that come in the mail, I scan them in. I use a printer. Stop using your phones. Buy the printer. Buy one of them printers where you can scan it in. The reason I say stop using phones is because it's not going to give you the best quality. You want everything superb. I use a scanner. Sometimes, and you're going to have to print stuff out too, especially if you're pro se. But I scan everything in. I collect everything. I put it in folders. This is how you guys know I was cerebral with my situation and I still got the corrupt end of the stick. Going back to what I said, if the truth was allowed, like if only the truth, if it was about the truth, most women would lose 80% of the time, if not more. Most women would lose. Most. If it was about the truth. So I collect everything so that way when I'm making my assumptions or making my case, I got evidence and facts and things that back it up. But in the court system, it's about whether or not things are allowed in or admitted in, and we're going to get into that too. All right, so everything you see, I have folders. Folders on folders on folders. Now, y'all can see my baby's name. That's okay. I didn't want y'all to see the witness list of other people involved. But yeah, my baby's name is Yadira. She is my world. She looks just like me. I'm going to show y'all some pictures later on. But my baby means everything to me. She really does. I wouldn't be fighting. Y'all really think that I would go through all this? Y'all think that I would go through all this if I was just trying to do it for my pride? If I was trying to do it for fun? If I was trying to do it to prove a point? I didn't start this journey to prove a point to nobody. I did this because a little girl needs saving. My daughter is in imminent danger. And yes, I really mean that. For all this to have transpired, all this to have happened, lies, false accusations and lies, corruption, people's hands out, all type of stuff. And for me to not think my daughter is in danger, man, you'd be a dummy. I'd be a dummy. That's why I'm doing something about it. However, Google Drive. Why would I say Google Drive? Don't be cheap. I'm saying use Google Drive because I'm going to give you guys some game on why I use Google Drive. So use Google Drive. Maybe you can use Google Drive. Maybe Google Drive, all right? Google Drive. Even if you don't like Google, Google Drive. Get over yourself. You get over Google Drive. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. Google Drive. I get no money from this. I'm not, because I'm trying to make it easy for you. If you want the hard way, do it your way. I'm trying to make it easy for you to have an opportunity so you can have a great sense of record keeping and assessment and use technology to your advantage. So here we go. Make a folder, make multiple folders in that folder, and then make multiple folders in those folders and add things to those accordingly. Okay? Add things to those accordingly. As y'all can see, I got some these are documents that are in my main one. This is stuff that I haven't organized yet. But look, I even made a Johnny Cochran. You see that? But either way, because I'm gonna show y'all what I mean. So Google Drive, have your stuff in there. Now, why would I say that? Because if we go to ChatGPT, if we go to Gemini, right? Oh, y'all can't see the thing. Oh man. Okay, well, we'll do it in ChatGPT. But if we go to ChatGPT, I click on this button here. Now, it depends on if you're on the free plan, the pro plan. If you're on the free plan and you going through all this, stop. Stop being cheap. Stop being cheap. Slap yourself on the face before you pat yourself on the back. Slap yourself in the face before you pat yourself on the back. I'm saying that because you're going to buy the paid version, right? After you watch this and you understand, get the paid version so that way you have a better chance of fighting. If you can't afford an attorney, then you need to be paying for AI. There's no excuse. Even if you have attorneys, you need to be paying for AI and using AI to watch the watcher. But with agent mode so far, I don't know what it's called when you're watching this video. Maybe you're watching this video a year because you know how this is. It takes time for things. But agent mode is what it's called right now. Maybe called something different in the future. And we have deep research. Why would I say that? Well, in ChatGPT, you can connect sources. That's why I say use Google Drive. Now, here's the other key thing that y'all should be using too if you're not using it. If you're using Yahoo Mail, I don't know where you at. If you're using Yahoo Mail, I don't know where you at. Listen, if you're using Yahoo Mail, I gotta give you a want. But use Gmail. Use Gmail. Make an account just for this. If you have to do it, and make it for correspondence, right? Use Google Drive and use Gmail for correspondence. Even use your Google Calendar. The reason I'm saying Google is because right now the AI tools probably have the best connection, like all around. They connect with different things, but they all have a connection to Google, meaning Gmail, Google Calendar, and Google Drive. And you flick these on, and then you ask the agent a question, or you ask the AI a question. I'm saying agent because that's the mode what it's called, but you ask the AI a question. Now, I'm sharing this with you with ChatGPT because I know a lot of y'all are probably more familiar with ChatGPT, but if I were you, I wouldn't start there. This is not the tool if I had one tool, I would not use ChatGPT as the tool to help me mitigate and manage my case. I wouldn't use ChatGPT. ChatGPT would be my backup. I just wanted to let you know you can use ChatGPT though. And this is what I use right now for Primo. But I also use another tool called 11 Labs for Primo as well, because I like 11 Labs is just for voice, for AI voice, for voice stuff. And so it's a lot easier to make for Primo. And Primo will be coming, like I'm going to share Primo with y'all. I'm going to put Primo in y'all hands. Y'all will have access to Primo in future. But right now, I'm just going to show it on this side. But in the future, yes, you will have access to Primo. And I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the best AI bots for reproductive coercion, for premeditated pregnancy, for all this information I'm sharing with you right now. It's going to be one of the best bots for that. And it's going to be on y'all hands. And they can't stop us. But let me show you something else what I use. So let me go to the next one. This is Claude. Claude is what I would say you use more than anything when it comes to this. Now, you're going to get less mileage out of it, less usage, but it's going to be better quality. The creme de la creme. Claude, this thing right here, this has been the best tool. The second best is Google AI Studio, but this has been the best tool when it comes to me being able to analyze and be accurate in my analysis. Is it perfect? None of them are. This for me is the closest. It's the closest. It sees things that most people will not see. And the things that it can't see, you got to give it more context. That's why I'm saying Google Drive, collect everything, because you can't just go to the AI. And now you can, but that's not the most efficient way to do it. Some of y'all are wasting your time going to the AI and saying, oh, hey, this is my problem. This is what I'm going through. Da, 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 da. You're not being efficient. Give it context. Meaning, give it the information, give it the facts, give it the reports, give it the filings, the order, give it what you can give it, what it's allowed to have. That's why I said pay for it, because the paid version, the AI is not being trained on the data you give it. At least it's not supposed to in terms of service, but the AI is not being trained. So that way it's still in the box of what you created it, right? Give it that information. But with Claude, look, I'm using Claude Desktop. Now, Claude Desktop currently is for Mac currently. I'm not sure if they have one for Windows yet. So for you PC users or non-computers, man, you got to get a computer. If you're going to do this and be serious about it, you got to get a computer. You can't do this on your phone. I would suggest start there if that's all you got. That's all you can use. But if you're serious about this, you're going to have to get a computer, because the computer can do things that the phone can't do. All right? I'm just letting you know. The computer can do things the phone can't do. Just keep it real with you. So as you can see here, we have Google Drive. I can turn it on. Turn it on. I even have other things. So these other things, these are because I have Claude on my computer. This is a desktop app. I'm not using Claude in the browser. When I showed you all ChatGPT, that was in the browser version. I wasn't showing you all the app version. This is the app, like when I downloaded from the App Store. It's a much better version, because there's things that you can do with this, as I said before, you can't do with the browser version. But both versions, the browser and the app, you can do this, y'all. So it doesn't matter if you have a Windows PC or if you have a Mac, and even on the phone, you can do some of this on the phone, the mobile app as well too, but you have to check for yourselves. Turn on Google Drive, turn on Gmail, and either do this. Click Extended Thinking. This is more for internal. This is where the AI is doing some extra thinking, more for internal. Or now don't do both, because you'll waste your tokens. Now you can do both, experiment if you want to. And I encourage that. I encourage sometimes doing things that you know may use too much of your stuff, so that way you can see what the limitations are. I encourage that. Experiment so you can see what the limitations are, so you know for your own self. But what I don't do anymore is I don't use both of these together. I don't use extended thinking. I don't use research together. I use one or the other. Research, what it does is it'll have like other AI and Claude. That's why I said this thing is just, oh my God, magic. It'll create agents, and it'll do research on your behalf. It'll go out and research and do research on the internet, or it'll research the connectors that you gave it, the integrations you gave it, right? The platforms. Now, make sure you specifically say, search in my Gmail, look at my Google Drive. And sometimes if you need to, say the folder. If you have a certain folder, tell the folder, so that way it's not wasting time searching for something, and now you're using tokens, okay? So be specific as possible. When you do this, it's game over. It's game over. Because if you have all the email communication, you can even upload the text messages, so you can create, and I'll share this in another video, but you can create your own kind of custom bots within the tool itself. But when you can share, because right now I'm in the main chat, I'm not in a custom bot version of it. I'm just in if I just opened it up, this is what it would show. I'm right there. When you do this and you tell it to research, and then you give it the right questions, ask the right questions, think of the right thing, and then ask sometimes before you even get here. What I do is I go to ChatGPT and I use that first to create prompts to give me ideas before I go to Claude, because Claude I get less of. And I pay for Claude and I still get less of it. But I go to ChatGPT for like simple stuff, right? And I say, hey, help me come up with a prompt for and I copy and paste that over to Claude. I use them together. And then it does the research on my behalf, and then it helps me analyze. So I'm not doing all this work myself. I'm telling you right now, anybody who questions this and thinks that this doesn't work, you're probably a loser. And somebody probably got offended by that, and that's okay. You're probably a loser. If you think that this don't work, this AI knows more than the lawyers. You think the judge knows more than the AI? Do you think the magistrate knows more than the AI? Do you think the referee knows more than the AI? Do you think that the clerk that you're talking to on the phone when you're calling, because you got to call in, do you think that they know more than the AI? Do you think that your lawyer knows more than the AI? Do you think the opposition knows more? No, they don't know more than the AI. But you got to give the AI context. What they know is they're in the club. That's why they don't fight with the truth. Because if you got the AI telling you this is, okay, here are the facts. I tell the AI, give me the facts, the statistics. Do not, unless I want it to, but most times I don't. Don't imply, don't infer. I want the facts, the data. Give me verifiable information. Give me irrefutable information. Give me the actual words that were said, and it does that. When you lose and you have all that and all the evidence, when I tell you I have more than 50 pieces of evidence in my case, and the other party, the mother, had one piece of evidence, text messages. I had video, I have audio, I have text messages, I had emails, email threads, I had images. I had so many pieces of evidence in so many mediums. And they did their best. All of them, everyone involved, did their best to keep me from admitting evidence. So that way it wouldn't be on the record. And in that way, when I filed an objection or I appealed, this is what they do. This is now, somebody gonna learn today. This is what they do. They keep evidence, because this happens in criminal court all the time too. It happened to Tory Lanez. So some of y'all who don't understand why Megan got away with what she got away with, because they kept evidence out the trial. If they can keep evidence, the truth out of the trial, then they can be corrupt. They can be more corrupt. They're already corrupt. They can be more corrupt, because then when you appeal or you object, guess what? The appeal is not based on new evidence. You have to appeal based on the evidence that was entered. So if they keep you from entering the evidence, then you have to fight even more to fight them in the appeal or the objection to say, hey, they kept me from entering evidence. And guess what that's gonna cost you? Money, whether you represent yourself or you hire a lawyer. And I did both. I represented myself for years. I even hired lawyers, plural. I would have never thought in my life, ever growing up, that by the age of 38, that I would not only finally be reaching the milestone for me, a goal in life, which is sustainability, a career, running my own business, successfully traveling the world. I've I visited Athens, Greece. I've visited Taipei, Taiwan. When I say visited, I mean I spoke there. I stayed there for about a week. I spoke in both places, and I've lived in England. I've traveled the world. I would have never thought by this age I would be fighting this hard for my baby girl. Knowing that I tried to set up everything, do things the right way for her, and yet none of it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the intentions were. It doesn't matter what you've done. It matters what you can prove. So therefore, that's why I'm saying use Google Drive. Use Gmail, use these AI tools. They're using technology. They're gonna use it. You can't stop them, but you can be 10 steps ahead of them, not in terms of always 10 steps ahead to win, because all they have to do is lie. That's it. They just gotta lie. And then it's on you, or they say it's on you. It's not supposed to be on you legally, but then they make you have to unprove their lie, even though they're supposed to be proving their lie. And they don't have the proof to prove their lie. So what they do is they put it on you. You gotta unprove the lie. So that's how we know we're not lying. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that's what I wanted to share with you all today. I know this is a long video. It is what it is. My video's gonna be long. Shoot, my live streams are gonna be long, because I got not just a lot to say, I got a lot to share and show y'all. And I know, as I just mentioned, that some of this is gonna be used for evil. I don't care no more. You have to create such a stoic stance in your being, in your life, because again, somebody is listening to this saying, and a lot of this, I'm just keeping it all the way real. I love women. I love women. I don't like hyenas. I can't stand them. I don't like corrupt, greedy, selfish mothers. I don't at all. The same way I don't like weak men. I'm not saying you can't have weaknesses. That's a difference. There's a difference. All men have weaknesses. All people, we all have weaknesses. I'm talking about just being weak, acting weak. I don't want to be around that. And maybe that may be weak of me. Who knows? But when it comes to this whole, I'm a mother, so I can do anything and I can get away with everything. That whole, Listen, some of you men can go for it. I ain't going for it. I know what I've done. I know I had a child at the wedlock. It don't even matter if you're married or not married. They can do it either way. And I take responsibility for the person who I impregnated. But what I'm not gonna do, because this is what they try to do in a lot of these spaces where they put it on, men are always gonna have to take accountability. It's like there's nothing we can do about that. That's ingrained in society that we have to be accountable or we're not men, right? So men will try to double hold men accountable. It's crazy. One of my lawyers literally tried to tell me and teach me about why I should have kept my thing in my pants and this is 3 years later. Why are you having this conversation with me? You think I need you to tell me that I should have never slept with this person and I wouldn't have gone through? You think it's 3 years later? You think I really needed to hear that from you? And to be real, I'm gonna keep it on. And you're a woman? Unmarried, and you're working in the family court business, and I should be learning and taking any advice from you? The audacity. But I digress, because that blew my mind, that I'm being given advice on why I should have. But going back to I know, did I know that this person was basically making plans without me? Did I know that this person knew what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do and they had all these things? No, I didn't know that. I trusted this person. So much so that that's the reason why I did what I did. I had unprotected sex, because we had conversations prior to that about all of the things that supposedly were to come. And that, no, we don't want to create an atmosphere for a child in this world that would create all the. We've had conversations. So I'm okay. Well, then I'm trusting this person, that, not thinking that it's the opposite. I'm trusting. Oh, well, yeah. Birth control has been the top of the conversation. Since when have you? Oh, I didn't. Okay. Those who know. But again, I got to take accountability, because you're still not supposed to do it anyway. And see, and that goes with the whole, well, then can you trust them for anything? If you can't, you know what I mean? Can you trust? Can you trust? If you trust and then your trust is broken, well, then can you trust? Should you trust? Or should it be, oh, no, you just trusted the wrong person? Okay. So again, I got to take accountability. I do take accountability. And I believe that the best thing that ever happened out of the situation is my daughter. She is the best thing that happened out of all of this. She is a ball of light, joy. I am grateful. I can't say the word proud. But maybe I can say proud. She looks just like me. She has my facial expressions. It's crazy. She is like the mini version of me. And the last time I saw her, she said she wanted to stay. And she wasn't 3 at the time. She was 2 at the time, getting ready to turn 3. And she said, Daddy, I want to stay. And I'm thinking she's saying I want to stay. I'm getting ready to drop her back off at our meeting location at the police station. For what reason we're meeting at the police station while our visitation, when there's been no evidence, no finding. I've never touched this woman, her physically. I've never even pushed her. Never. That's not even in my aura, not even in my blood. I never cheated on her. I never touched her, harmed her, hurt her. None of that. I'm gonna tell y'all in another video the worst thing that I did, and that's for no man to ever do. But it wasn't anything like physical, nothing like that. I'm talking about just making a bad decision as a man. That's gonna be another video. to help avoid. Listen, remember I said the channel is about avoiding and navigating. I have to navigate. I want some men to avoid. I want to show how you avoid. But for those who have to navigate, if you're already in it, we got to navigate. But yeah, man, I just wanted to be known that I'm not doing all this for no reason. All it takes is one person. I want one person to learn. If 2 people learn, great. And I don't regret this at all. I'm not going to give away too much of my future strategy because, again, I know those can be watching. So some things I'm going to give more of that I've done in the past so that way you can share because what's done is done. Like, whatever they're going to try to use again, what's done is done. But I do want to share with y'all some of the things I've already done because somebody's going to take this and somebody is going to win. Somebody's going to get a different outcome than I got because you're going to get a different magistrate, you're going to get a different judge. You're not going to, my entire, everybody in the court was a woman. A white woman, mind you. Me and my child's mother are the only black people in the thing. And that's what's so embarrassing and so hurtful. We the only black people in this, and I'm the only black man. Everybody involved is a woman. Magistrate's a woman, the guardian ad litem is a woman, the other attorney's a woman. So for those of y'all who are watching this, probably thinking, what are you going against women? Man, see, we talk about all this equality stuff, but in times where we should be having equal representation, so that way all parties have different perspectives, and now all of a sudden we want to, well, what are you going against her? It is what it is. But that is the truth. They were all women, and they were all feminist women. All of them. And I'm sure all of them loved to see me in that courtroom not being able to defend myself. Not because I can't defend myself. I can defend myself, but not being able to defend myself because they're objecting to everything. They're not recalling everything, and they're lying on top of things. They're objecting, not recalling, and they're lying. All of them. The magistrate, the guardian ad litem, and the mother's lawyer, and the mother. She lied on the record. They all lied. And it will all be put to light. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Just a matter of, I have too much evidence. I have too much records. Whether I win in the courts or not, I can still win in another way. Sometimes the court of public opinion. Sometimes, hey, I don't even need to win in the court of public opinion because I already know what society favors. I know that. I know that. So in the context of this situation, it's all good. We gonna win. I'm gonna win in some way or another because I'm a winner. I'm a winner. You're probably a winner too. If you're taking what I'm saying, you're thinking about it, you're critically thinking, you agreeing, you're probably a winner too. And I look forward to going on this journey with you all. I look forward of you all joining me on this journey. It's crazy I got to this point. I wanted to do this when it all started, like 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad I'm doing it now because now some things are behind me. I'm still in the midst of some crazy things. Some things are behind me so I can share with you all evidence of what I've done. So if somebody can say, well, what did you do? How did you do it? You ain't do this. Well, did you try that? We're going to eliminate excuses around here. We're going to eliminate excuses around here. But yes, use AI to your advantage. Record everything, document everything. Use AI to help you critically assess things. Make sure that it's not being biased. Make sure that it's not just saying what you want it to say. Make sure that it's using facts. It's able to read. Because remember, it can go out on the internet. So you want to give it a combination of your case details, all the details you can about the case, and then allow it to also search the internet. So that way it can grab similar cases, or it can grab the law for you, or it can grab other, it can do that for you and combine all that together. And then now you can look at that and then you can get a better assessment. Again, it doesn't mean that you're gonna win your trial because they are allowed, like they allow them to be corrupt. And they do that because the meter's running. Because if they're corrupt and you object to their corruption, guess what you gotta do? You still gotta pay. Because then you gotta go up to, it's round 2, fight. You gotta go to the next round, which is typically the judge or the overseer of the magistrate, or the referee. Then you gotta fight, go to them, and if you don't, they gotta do appellate court. And everybody's getting paid along the way. Everybody's getting paid along. Even if you finally win, guess what? Everybody got paid. And then if you don't win, everybody got paid, and you never get that money back. If you don't win, you think the lawyers say, "Hey, man, we know we just took $30,000 from you." You don't get that money back. The government lied to them, or the social workers that were corrupt, and then you have to pay. You have to pay for their corruption. You don't get that money back. So yeah, I can understand why a lot of men would check out. That's why I said avoid it, men. Avoid it, because you don't deserve it. Men, I'm talking to. Men, not males. Men. And man, if you are already in it, and you want an outcome that you want, not the one that they want to give you, I'm just going to help give you guys some of my tools and my strategies. And then you guys can take that, learn from others too, and do what you want to do with it. I rock with y'all. Hope y'all rocking with me. This was a long one, I know. But we had to do it though. I had to do it. So somebody's going to look at this one day, is going to find this helpful. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, man. Show some love. If you have any questions or any comments, throw it down in the comments. I wanna see what y'all have to say. If you disagree with the things that I'm saying, throw it in the comments. I'm okay. I'm okay with hearing. Listen, I'm an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur, the reason I'm saying that because it's not sexy being an entrepreneur. People gonna tell you they're an entrepreneur and it's all cool stuff. No, you're an entrepreneur. You're gonna get punched in the face a lot. You gotta have a strong spine to be a true. I'm not talking about a person with a side gig, a side hustle. I'm talking about meaning you're taking all the risk. You don't have no 9 to 5, no, you're not counting. You got to get your own stuff, and there's nothing wrong. Most of y'all should not be entrepreneurs. Stick to your 9 to 5, stick to the jobs because you just playing with yourself. However, you got to be tough to be an entrepreneur. You got to be tough, especially you've been in the game for 10 years, and I've been in the game for 10 years. I started my company in 2015. And I'm still here. Most people have come and gone multiple times. You got to be tough. As a father, you got to be tough. As a father, you got to be like an entrepreneur. You're not an entrepreneur, but you have the same traits as an entrepreneur. If you are a father who they are striving to keep you out the child's life, I feel you. I'm literally going through it, and we ain't the first ones. And we won't be the last ones. But what we can be is the ones that let them know I'm not the one, but I am the one. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm talking about? If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Because they thought I was just going to fold. And I have evidence. Of other lawyers, looking at taking my case and even saying, yeah, they just didn't like that you challenged them. Like they tried to put you through the factory and they didn't like that you challenged them. And so they just made it harder for you. As simple as that. How interesting. So they were corrupt because they didn't like the truth. How interesting. And I have facts on that. I got receipts and facts and proof for everything. For everything that I have. Everything. I don't play no games no more. And you shouldn't either. All right, let's get out this mug. My name is Maestro with Primo Prego. I didn't bring up Primo this time because I felt like y'all didn't, well, I said the word felt. I believe y'all didn't really need to hear from the AI. I believe that y'all either believe me or you don't, but I'll bring up Primo next time. All right, we out. Peace.